Hi everyone, welcome to Mandy Moves. Today I want to talk to you about how our bodies build muscle. I talk a lot on here about building muscle and getting our basal metabolic rate up and all of that kind of stuff. If you watched some of my other videos, like I talk about it semi-frequently, and I am constantly in the gym, and this is just a wellness channel. But it occurred to me the other day that not everyone knows exactly how muscle is built and how it works in our body and what it means to actually lift weight, what is going on in our body. I know a lot of people just give me the formula and I'll do it, but sometimes knowing how it works will help us to work smarter as we are going through our processes. Oh, this is not going to be some complicated anatomy lesson. I am not terrible with that kind of stuff, but that's not exactly in my wheelhouse, and I'm learning a lot about it right now as I'm learning about my own body. But I want to kind of give you guys the basics of what is going on. So here goes. Our muscles are made up of thousands and thousands of tiny little fibers, and they stretch, they contract, they do all sorts of things. So when we see, my biceps aren't what they used to be, but like as this is going, like my bicep is, this is contracting, this is expanding. But what is actually happening under our skin, we don't see it as much. So I want to break that down for you. When we are lifting weights, our bodies are put under stress. And that stress basically is a signal to your body saying, oh, this was really, really difficult, and I need to be able to do this better. Don't we wish our kids actually had that attitude? I need to be able to do this better. Let me work on that. So the workout or the lifting weights is actually a stimulus. And we provide a bunch of different stimulus to our bodies. Sometimes we provide a stimulus that, hey, we want endurance. But when we're lifting weights, it is usually especially heavy weights, it is a stimulus to help build muscle. So that way, moving heavy loads or any load at all is something that we can continue to do. Our bodies are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so God made them extremely adaptable. And so our bodies are automatically made to adapt to said stimulus. So when you lift weights, it gives the stimulus, oh, we need to build muscle to try harder. You're not building muscle in that moment that you are actually lifting the weight. That is actually creating small tears in your muscle that your body is going to need to recover from and then get stronger so that way those tears don't happen again. This whole process does not take a short amount of time. It actually takes a couple of days for the entire kind of cycle. It's not really a cycle, but for it to complete. Think of it this way, like you are going to renovate the house. First, you have the thought, hey, I want to renovate my house. I want to make my kitchen better, whatever that might be. So there are certain things that need to be done in order for you to have a nicer kitchen. Say you want new cabinets. Well, you have to pull out the old cabinets. There has to be damage that is done in order to put in the new cabinets. And you can kind of think of it that way. So basically, when you are lifting those weights, you're creating the stimulus and saying, oh, I need to make sure that I am building better, stronger muscle. And your body will say, okay, I'm going to pull in this other material, new cabinets, whatever it is, in the case of our muscles, protein, in order for us to actually build said muscle. Now, when does all of this happen? This actually happens most of the time during our recovery. So, if you're someone that listens to Dr. Stacy Sims, I am a huge proponent of hers, especially for women in perimenopause. Post workout, post lifting, we need to make sure that we get in the right amount of nutrition. It should be somewhere around 30 grams of protein post workout, and actually fairly quickly post workout, to make sure that we are building those fibers back up. So that way, because we could technically be giving our body a different stimulus if we're not giving our body the fuel that it needs in order to build the muscle that we want it to build. And I think most of us really do want lean muscles. We don't want a lot of fat sitting on top of it. We don't want to look puffy. We want, people say long, lean muscles. Not everyone is long and lean. I have a very short torso. My legs are long, but like not everything about me is long. And so sometimes I'm like, do I really want long, lean? Sometimes it's really just not going to happen. But anyways, we want lean muscle. We are interrupting this part of the video to make sure that you like and subscribe. The recovery time matters. Not only does the recovery time matter afterwards, say you have a day or two rest in between your workouts, the recovery time between sets matters as well. The recovery time post workout matters more. However, for you to give your body the right amount of stimulus, saying that we need to build muscle, we need to make sure that we are giving it the stimulus of, oh, this is really, really hard to do. And what fitness experts have said, and actually studies have also shown, I will be sure to link a couple down below, is that if you're not lifting a weight that you need to rest around 3 to 5 minutes in between sets, it's probably not enough of a stimulus for you to build muscle, at least not the muscle that I'm talking about. Can it be done? Yes, but it is going to be done much easier and much faster if you lift a significant amount of weight. Am I talking about going in and deadlifting 150 pounds? No, I'm not, because you could seriously hurt yourself, and I'm not advising you to do that. And I should probably put in my disclaimer right here that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a medical professional. I am a personal trainer and a wellness coach. But this is all coming from my research and my experience. I urge you to do your own research. Don't just take my word for it. Don't just take ChatGPT's word for it. Look up studies and figure this out for yourself. I'm just trying to give you a couple of shortcuts, but you really should be informed on your body. Most of our muscle building happens overnight. And I can kind of show you on my Hume scale, like when things get better as far when muscle builds. So I had been like on a muscle building kind of spree, not on purpose, up until about last November. So I think I can show you those numbers then. I've been struggling with it lately because my body has been under too much stress, and I haven't really been able to make much much of a I haven't been able to make much progress when it comes to muscle building. I'm really in more of a cut right now. But that process from my initial stimulus, which would be weightlifting, to the protein afterwards, to when I actually see muscle being built, it probably takes about 24 to 48 hours, just so you guys know. And I'm also talking like this is by no means perfect. I use a Hume scale. The piece de resistance, or the creme de la creme when it comes to understanding if you're gaining muscle, is going to be a DEXA scan. I highly encourage anyone to get one of those, but if you kind of want daily tracking, I highly suggest you get a Hume scale. I absolutely love mine. I like being able to track my progress when it comes to my muscle gains, and also to kind of get a feel for what my basal metabolic rate is, and I really want that to go up. I know I keep talking about basal metabolic rate. I want to go ahead and get into that right now. So a lot of people think that lifting weights is not going to help them to lose weight. It's going to make them bulky because you're building muscle. Essentially, yeah, you are going to gain a little bit of weight at the beginning. The point of this is as you are building muscle, your body will have pretty much no other choice, because you're giving the stimulus for it to build muscle. So it's going to build. So you actually might gain a couple of pounds initially. But what I have found, it kind of evens out a little bit because your basal metabolic rate comes up. What is that? Your basal metabolic rate basically means that for me, just sitting here talking to you, if I was to literally do this all day long, how many calories does my body burn just to exist, just to sit here and not do anything, not walking around, literally not doing anything? My basal metabolic rate is around, I don't know, like 1450 or something like that. So that means 1,400 calories I take just to exist. The more muscle you have, the higher that rate goes, because muscle takes a lot of calories. It burns a lot of calories literally just to exist. So if you're constantly giving that stimulus to build muscle and you're going to get more and more of it, you're going to be able to eat more and more. Who doesn't want to do that? I like eating. Some people might not. I am a big fan of it. It's we kind of got to do it to stay alive. And it also gives me a little bit more freedom when it comes to what I can eat. Do you want to eat whole foods? 1000%. Do you want to make sure that you get in your protein? Yes, I literally have this with me right now because that's what I need to eat. I need to make sure that I'm hitting my protein goals, because I did just lift yesterday. And if you're not hitting your protein goals, it's like you've torn out the cabinets and you're not putting up any sort of cabinets back up, that you're just going to put like maybe a floating countertop and that's it, and you're not going to have any storage. So you need to make sure that you're putting something back in order for your muscles to build, and that's going to be protein. It needs to be a complete protein. For those of you that love your collagens and stuff, I love my collagens too. Those collagens don't count. You need to make sure that you have a complete protein. So some of the best ways to get that are eggs, beef, chicken, anything like that. Why am I making such a big deal about this right now? Because it matters in midlife. In our 40s and 50s, our body tends to pare down muscle because it's trying to become more efficient. Like I said earlier, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Our bodies are constantly adapting, they long for homeostasis. So, for us to they want everything to be as even as possible. So it's constantly reacting to different sorts of stressors. Maybe you're lifting weights, but it's a little bit harder in this time period of life to build muscle because I want to say systems are shutting down, but our hormones are starting to decline. So all that support that hormones gave our muscles to honestly just exist, they're not there as much anymore. So if you're on some sort of hormone therapy, great, but it's still you still need to make sure that you're giving the stimulus for your body to either keep the muscle that you have or to develop new muscle. And you might ask me, Mandy, what about Pilates? Pilates is great. And if you're someone who has never worked out before, and you're like, I want to try a reformer class, it looks like fun, please do. I absolutely love going Pilates. I try and go at least once a week. That is not usually not enough of a stimulus for your body to build muscle. Now, if you're someone who has never ever really worked out before, you've been a walker or something like that, and you all of a sudden go to Pilates, that is going to be a stressor on your body because you're like, oh, I've never done anything before. Your body is going to adapt to that. So you really could build muscle. What I do find in Pilates is there are longer sets of like 8 to 15, and a lot of times those are not meant to build muscle. Those are technically more endurance type workouts, and so it builds stamina for your muscles, but not necessarily build actual muscle. So you could probably start off in Pilates if you're someone who has not worked out before, but moving into the weight room is going to be essential for you eventually. Because remember, our body longs for homeostasis. It means that you are eventually going to need a stronger stimulus. It's called progressive overload. So basically, it means that your body, once it has built that muscle, it has adapted. It's like, okay, I'm good. And then, so have you ever hit a plateau on your weight loss journey or your fitness journey, whatever kind of journey you're on? If you've ever hit a plateau, that means that your body has adapted to whatever stimulus it is that you've given it. So you have to change things up a little bit. A good workout program, if you're doing one, should be somewhere around 4 to 6 weeks of one type of workout, and then after that you change to another type of workout, and then after that you change to another type of workout, and you can kind of rotate through those. Sometimes it's going to be longer sets just to give your muscles something to change. Some people in the past have called it muscle confusion. There's not really such thing as muscle confusion. Basically, you need to prime your muscles to lift heavier. And so you need to make sure that you are progressing throughout your programs. So if you are lifting, maybe you're doing a bicep curl of 10-pound curls or maybe even 5-pound curls, and it's getting easy for you, you need to move up to eights. If eights are too easy for you, then you need to move up to tens and so on and so forth. Eventually, are you going to hit a break point? Are you just going to keep lifting until you're curling 100 pounds? No, you're not going to continue, but eventually you're going to build enough muscle to where your body is doing it, or body is functioning at a level that you really want it to. Hopefully by that time you've lost enough fat, and if not, then you can do something that's called a cut, where you're actually still lifting weights and you're still trying to maintain that muscle, but you lower your caloric intake, and that should cut your fat from your body. That's another video for another time, but I just kind of wanted to throw that little caveat in there. So what does this look like for me as a personal trainer? I'm someone whose body gets stressed out super easily. Stress on your body can come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. And if you have stress at work, if you have stressors anywhere else in your life, that all adds up. And sometimes putting more stress from lifting weights kind of puts your body over the top, and you go into breaking down your muscle a little too much, and it just never recovers. I tend to go into that really, really easily. So, what does that look like for me? It looks like 2 times a week, lifting with 2 to 3 lifts, and that's it. Currently, as of today, which is August 12th of 2026, I use Mind Maps Muscle Mommy 15. I do not use it in the way that it is laid out because it's too much for me. I lift weights about 2 days a week and I do 2 to 3 lifts per day. And right now I'm currently working on cutting. I'm fairly happy with the muscle that I have. I may do a bulk later on just to try and build more muscle. But right now, bulking is even just the thought of eating so much food when I am a little stressed right now is not, it's just that time of the year for me. I'm also a school counselor, and so things are ramping up for the school year. And so I'm not going to put myself through more stress doing a bulk and harder workouts. I decided not to do that. So I'm deciding to do a cut right now. And I'm actually kind of really enjoying the numbers on the scale going down, but then really, for the most part, seeing my muscle mass maintain. So, if you're someone in midlife and you're wondering if strength training is actually worth it, yes, actually, you do want to make sure that you have quality muscles. You want to make sure, and I didn't even get into this, that you have good bone density. But the more muscle you have, the denser your bones are going to be. We don't want osteoporosis when we're in our 70s. We want to make sure that we have long, healthy lives with our grandchildren. We want to make sure that we're able to still carry in groceries for ourselves when we're living alone and we don't have a teenage son living at home anymore. I want to make sure that I can go on hikes. One of the things that I want to do with my husband after the kids are out of the house is walk the Camino. I want to make sure that I am strong enough to do something like that. And so lifting weights is going to make sure that I maintain the muscle mass that I need to be strong enough to do those things that I want to do. I have finally come to terms with the fact that I am not going to get my 27, 28-year-old body back. Sometimes it's a little sad to think about, but that's okay. I I'm not 27 anymore. I'm 40 years old, and that's just the way that it is. Lifting weights is not punishment for me not having that body anymore. It's actually taking care of the body that I have to make sure that it is functioning for a long time to come. If you're working on building muscles if you're working on building muscle in your midlife, please make sure that you comment below what you are doing to make sure that you have those beautiful muscles on your body. If you've been following along, please make sure that you check out my 6 essential layers to midlife. That is my series. Hi, buddy. That I've talked about all the different layers to making sure that we live as healthy of a life as possible in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.